Hi all, this is Skate, and this bunker is the AT-15A, the Tier 7 Premier tank, which is available in the tech tree. At the moment, everyone is ranting and raving about the new medium tank, light tanks, autoloaders, etc, etc, so I thought I would quickly review this tank because it's an underdog. And if you're not interested in those new autoloaders, at least you have something else to look at. Now this tank is just sitting in the tech tree, yet it is completely overlooked, very rarely seen on the battlefield, and often severely underestimated. So what we're going to do first is have a quick look at the statistics on this tank, and then I went out and had some fresh battles in this morning and have some great footage to show you. You will see I have 3 other premium tanks in my filter below, and I will be comparing this tank to those 3 Tier 7 premium tank destroyers. On the screen we're about to have a tank load of statistics up. I'm not going to go through every single one in tiny details, but feel free to pause the video if you do want to look at these in more details. I'm just going to skim through the key points basically. Now the first notable thing is these are slightly affected by what equipment I put on the tanks. In theory, most people's equipment for said tanks should be the same, as obviously they'll be the ones which suit it the most. What these stats do show us though, is this is the slowest of these Tier 7 premium tank destroyers, but it has the most armour by a long shot, and it also has the most hit points by a long shot as well. In terms of gun, it has the lowest DPM of all of these tank destroyers, but it also has one of the most accurate guns and one of the most fast firing guns. The penetration's second from top, but with that accuracy, this gun is phenomenally good. The E25 is meant to be played long range. It has amazing accuracy, but low penetration. This thing has very good penetration, amazing accuracy, and you play this in people's faces. The other notable thing is this has the highest APCR penetration, 239 compared to the 217 and 197. It's a little bit overkill, the APCR penetration. You'll never need that much because you can easily hit weak spots with this gun. Now, we are all aware there are statistics in Garage which we cannot see, such as gun arc and gun depression. This thing has the best by a long shot on that as well. It has 25 degrees gun arc, and it has 10 degrees gun depression. Only 10 degrees gun elevation, but you can shoot around corners with this thing, which is pretty much partly how you should play it. So that gun arc and that amount of armour will bring us nicely onto the next topic, which is the angle of the dangle. This is the AT-15A in its come at me, I dare you angle. We are firing at the AT-15A here using the IS gun, which has 175mm of penetration. Head on, there is only 2 places this can penetrate, which is the commander or machine gun port in the top and the front plate. Now the second you put any more than around 2 degrees of gun depression on this tank, that front plate pretty much becomes impenetrable. Obviously the more gun depression you use, the more angle you get on the entire tank as well. Those cheeks by there have anywhere between 350 and 250mm of effective armour. In this sort of position, using this gun depression, you are literally a bunker and they have no hope in penetrating you, because your machine gun port is so small when you're angled down like that, it's a nightmare to get at you, especially as they'll be shooting up. Now you can't always get yourself in a position where you can use the gun depression, so you need to use that massive gun arc. Once you use that massive gun arc, you pretty much have 350mm of effective armour on the sides. That turns this thing into an auto ricochet machine. Everybody will be doing everything they can to get to that machine gun port. So, best way to handle it is always aim as far left as you can, so you're angling your tank at them as far right as you can. That way you're hiding the machine gun port as much as possible, and everywhere else on the tank is pretty much red. The optimal position for this tank is to have that machine gun port hidden on the right hand side of a building. As a result, you are aiming around the corner using that full gun arc, pretty much invulnerable to any return fire. Now I know what you're thinking, let's get some APCR on the go. Well, this is an IS firing APCR, and as you can see, it's still very, very difficult to penetrate. The roof is the biggest weak spot on this tank. If that machine gun port on the right is hidden, the one on the left hand side of the tank is the best shout. If gun depression is being used, that thing is pretty much hidden and nigh on impossible to hit, and as a result, it becomes a very, very, very hard tank to penetrate, even with APCR. And the other trick is to obviously keep moving towards them or keep wriggling between shots. That will make it difficult for any tank to hit the weak spots. So I just want to show you quickly just a couple of examples of how I use the gun. The most important thing with this tank is I literally do use it as it should be used, as an AT, an assault tank. I don't camp in this thing, I don't sit at the back, you're not fast enough to get into the action. Basically, from the very start, I push. And with a 3.5 or 3.4 second reload, you literally can just keep people perma-tracked. This is a perfect example. I've pushed past B and I've gone straight to C, and he can't cap C because I keep resetting it and perma-tracking him. Now, early on in the game, to be perma-tracking someone like that either means he doesn't have a repair kit, which he did just use actually, so he does have a repair kit. Why in God's name did he take so long to use his repair kit? That's really confused me actually. Why didn't he use it? But here's another example I want to show you. Now the reason I say this, it is a fairly obvious point to perma-track someone, but with a rate of fire like this, you need to make sure you're perma-tracking someone because you'll only do 160 damage. Now in this scenario, I could have turned and started shooting the Helsing there, but I've got a perfect perma-track on the go here. There is no point wasting it, and I get to use and do as much damage as I can. With only 160 a shot, if you're not perma-tracking people, keeping them in your view range, you're not going to be able to use that DPM. The other thing, with adrenaline on, you have a 2.8 second reload. That is perfect for keeping people in your view range. Now here is another example I wanted to give you quickly, where I mentioned using the gun depression earlier in the armor inspector. This is a perfect example. So that Tiger's backing off. I could back off because there is 3 of them, or I could push them. Look how many bounces I've got already. I have got my adrenaline on the go now, so that LTTB will be dealt with very, very quickly, and with the angle I'm at, they literally cannot penetrate me. In fact, he's resorted to using HE on me, which is just funny. So I'm going to ignore him, being as he's only shooting HE at me now, take out the Tiger after taking out the LTTB. Now once we've taken the Tiger out, we can then turn our attention to the Flat Panzer. Now in this scenario, in less than 2 minutes, or it's actually going to be just over 2 minutes, I'll effectively have taken 3 tanks out from full health, and that would have cost me less than 200 of my hit points, although someone did ninja my kill by here. But still, 3 tanks from full health, and I've only lost a fraction of mine. Yeah, I'd say that was a fair trade, wouldn't you? I've cut a little bit to the battle here, just because all I was doing was driving back to this spot to obviously start shooting again. But again, a perfect example, I'm going for the tracks again. It's an MT-25, he does not have the penetration or accuracy to get me, but I do manage to get a good few shots into him. And then we are on to the next tank. Now again, the rate of fire and the accuracy of this gun allows me to ninja the kill. I don't feel so annoyed someone ninjaed my kill earlier now. But that's one very quick game, just to give you an example of how I personally like to play the tank. And as you can see, it works well. For a tier 7 tank, it doesn't half make some good money, 75,000 net. So, onto the replays to try and combine all those things together. Now, in this game, you'll notice on the minimap my entire team, and I do literally mean the entire team, have gone left. And I'm still going to push up and go into the town by myself. No, I'm not stupid, and no, I'm not trying to be a hero. The reason I'm doing this is because this tank is very weak out exposed down at the bottom. This tank is very strong in amongst buildings. I would feel more confident putting this up here by myself with no support because of the tank's strengths. Now you'll notice as soon as I get into the town, both A and B are being capped. A they do manage to catch, But what this does mean is I'm pretty much surrounded, and it means all 7 of the enemy team... Well, actually, I think it's 6, but still. The vast majority of the enemy team are right in front of me. Now, I'm not covering my commander's hatch here because of the way I'm trying to shoot at this tank, but what I am doing is aiming for the track, and I am angling my tank as much as possible. You'll notice I'm not using right in the middle of the gun arc. It's like I said earlier, you've always got to keep to the angles with this tank, and it's an absolute monster. But I am pretty much surrounded, so I'm trying to focus the tanks now, which are getting close to me. Now, I'm literally shooting at every angle at this point in time, but I'm going to take some damage on the side, but it does mean I can clear up this one side here. There's only an E25 this side, yet on the right-hand side, there's loads of tanks. So, take out that one flank quickly, and I know I'm safe to face one direction. And this is where the other beauty of this rate of fire comes in my opinion. Is I can shoot several different tanks very quickly, which stops them pushing me. If they did push me here, my scenario would be to back it up into a building so they can't get right on my back. Now, rather than push me, they have gone to push the medium tank on the right there because they've managed to get him down to low health. And I'm now in a scenario with a J-Panther and a Tiger on one side of that building, and I have 3 tanks on the other side. So I'm going to back it up this way and basically hope for the best at this point in time. My actual goal here is to try and get them all around one side of me. So cover myself with the rock as I'm turning, and then I'll come out this side and take out one of these. That way I can then go around the building and I'm in theory covered. Now you'll notice here I am actually in a position to hide my commander's hatch, or the machine gun port, whichever you prefer to refer to it as, from the Tiger. I'm not bothering now because he's not even looking at me though, so it just means extra free damage at me. My team have now though managed to get around the flank and are pushing as well. So I can quite comfortably push as hard as I want and know full well that I've got backup and support behind me. Again, look at the angle though, I'm not facing him head on. If I faced him head on, my armor's a lot flatter and it's weaker. Using that full angle, or as much as the angle as I can, gives me tremendous amounts of armor. It's literally ridiculous. But we are only down to 1 red left now. I don't know what he's intending on doing here, but he goes to capture B. And then obviously I can get a shot into him by here. I do track him, but the beauty of this rate of fire again, I managed to get the kill in. One thing I haven't mentioned actually is my ammo loadout. I use 40 AP, 28 APCR, and just a couple of HE. Never know when you're going to need the APCR, and you can carry plenty of it. Again, this battle I did fire some APCR, 80,000 net, I got a nice steel wall, and a mastery badge, and obviously damaged 6 of them. If I do say so myself, I did a truck ton more damage than the rest of the team. So for a tier 7 in the tech tree though, this thing really does make good money. It's a consistent earner. Now, onto the final replay, and this is a friggin' bizarre game, is the only way I can describe it. It's just odd. Basically, just to give the game away from the start, we cap. A map this big, I can't really guarantee I'm going to know where they're going. So, for me, my logic is I'm going to cap and I'm going to draw them to me. Also, since this map came out, I've always wanted to try and cap from under the bridge, so I give it a go. And the answer will be yes, you can cap from under the bridge. But if you're in a tank without a turret, it's a damn stupid idea, because I am literally stuck under this bridge and there is only one way in or out, because I can get in this side, I am too big to get out that side. Now to me, looking at it, it looks like I have enough room, but for some reason it won't let me through. And that's a problem when the reds, especially a T29, appears on your butt. Now the vast majority of the team are in the cap as well, but for some reason, probably because I have a big squishy butt, facing everybody, they shoot me in the butt first. You'll also note the KV2 has just derped our SU-152 as well, so we are really not off to a good start in this game. And it all fared us. I put my tank in a really stupid place. If I got called noob or anything like that right now, I'd probably say it was well deserved. So now I need to try and recuperate and do as much damage as I can. Again, track shots on the KV2. and obviously he does repair his track, and he doesn't get away in time. Also, notice how much of that SU is red and how much isn't, and yet we still managed to accurately hit both shots on him. The gun on this is incredibly accurate, it's just great. What that basically means is this is a good earner in the aspect of you don't need to use much APCR. The only time I actually use APCR is when I need to desperately guarantee a kill. Other than that, I don't really have a reason to. In this scenario, I am being shot from several different angles, but this SU is on low health and he is tracked, so prioritize targets, try to get as many out as I can. We are in a 3-on-5 situation here though, and we are literally surrounded. So in hindsight, coming down to the base, very dumb idea. I'm not going to get much damage on this SU, but pointing his direction, getting a shot off him, allows him or makes him back up quite quickly, which lets me then push forward and do some damage to this T-29. Again, I am trying to prioritize low health targets. Prioritizing these guys means less guns firing. Also, by tracking him as much as possible, I keep him in place and allow the light tank to go flying past him. So it's now a 3-on-4 situation. That tank, oh no, it's a 2-on-4 situation. Nope, it's a 1-on-4 situation. I am very slow, and I literally have them on all angles of me. The SU by there is running off though, so my best bet is to get myself back up against a rock so I can't get circled, and take out the one who's pushing me the hardest. In this scenario, it would be the LTTB. Now, he either tries to double buff me and screws it up, or he stupidly drives straight into the front of my tank. Either way, you can really take tanks out very quickly with this. Especially with the rate of fire, the penetration doesn't take long. Now a 3-on-1. I've got an SU-100 in front of me and a T-34 behind me. If I back up the hill, they're both in front of me then, so they both have to try and contend with my tough armor. T-34-85 though, he is on 3 kills, so he's not a bad tanker. Not a bad tanker at all. So you can see he's trying to push my flank. I think he underestimated how quick this tank does turn, especially with that gun arc. You can swing it very quickly. You also see me turning constantly to see where the SU-100 is. He also comes up the hill to get around the back of me, but that does mean I can quickly point my armor in front at both of them. So you'll see I'm constantly checking both sides, but by going back down the hill again, or aiming back down the hill, I can at least protect myself as much as possible. So, SU-100 is gone, it's just me and the T-34-85 here. I am on 5 kills. And obviously he is going to run away from me. I'm slow, he is not. But, going downhill, in theory I can gain a bit of speed. Nope, actually scrap that, I gained 1 kilometer per hour. He slows down going uphill though. Even though he does slow down going uphill, I am still far too slow to catch him. So I'm not going to go running around a rock with him playing kissy kissy chasey chasey. I will lose and I will never get anywhere. So you'll notice I've pushed forward towards the cap. Now, I'm kind of hoping he's going to push out by here. It almost looks like I'm running away from him, and I'm hoping he just comes up and thinks he'll get a quick snapshot on my butt. But facing at this angle in the middle, I can turn my gun very quickly whichever way he exposes himself. My armor is also very well angled regardless which way he comes out as well. I'm assuming in this circumstance he decides the best thing to do is to try and push around my flank quickly. It doesn't happen though. So it does mean I get the 6th kill there. Now, the observant among us will notice I am on 32 on the cap. There is only 38 or 36 seconds left, and the last T-150 is AFK. I am never going to get to their base in time, and I'm never going to cap in time. So it is a draw. I had some nice compliments off the team, so fair play to those guys. I did apologise for the basis of we are not going to win as we don't have the time. So although I had nice compliments off them, which I thought was very nice, there is no chance of a win, sadly. In all fairness to them, again, they were pretty cool there. I don't think they were actually that bothered, because they literally just gave me an okay and a smile. So, they're not all bad teams on Blitz. In fact, even on a loss, you can get happy people. And it's nice to see, even on a draw and a loss, people being nice rather than raging. But, results is a draw, as I said. 4,000 damage. I was very happy with that. And again, 86,000 net profits. Very gutted the T150 was AFK. It would have been very nice if we could have got a kill on him and a Rasenai as well. It was a draw, but I'm still happy. The team was still smiling at the end, and that's what it's all about. Very happy with that, actually. So if you've been tempted to pull this tank out the tech tree, where it's been sitting, often forgot about, it's a very good tank. If you've already got the tank, and you were just looking for some insights or some information, I hope you have found some of the information in this useful and can obviously take it into your battles. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.